Do you like wrestling? Do you ever watch wrestling?
No. Nope.
And The Rock said, whoa, 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 whoa.
What's up, gang? Welcome to Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman, the podcast that breaks down the biggest stories in and out of the ring. I am your host. My name is Mike Wellman. Thank you for hitting that play button. We appreciate you here, as always. Welcome to another episode of, as I said, the podcast that breaks down the biggest stories in and out of the ring. And on this episode, we got a story to break down that is outside of a office building in Arlington, Texas, folks, because we are going to talk about the possibility of Shane McMahon joining AEW after the photo that leaked of Shane O'Mac and Tony Khan having a meeting. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Bryan Danielson and the latest stipulation that he added this week on Dynamite to the AEW World Championship match at All In. We're also going to talk about Camille joining Mercedes in AEW. Share our thoughts on that. And then we'll talk about this MJF and Will Ospreay feud. MJF taking over the International Championship, turning it red, white, and blue. Kyle Fletcher getting involved. Don Callis back in the mix. Don Callis, only wear gold, Jim Ross. Maybe we'll hear from Don Callis. But yeah, we got a lot to get to. All that plus some final SummerSlam predictions. We are just hours away as of this recording from WWE SummerSlam in Cleveland. So we'll give some predictions before the end of the episode. And yeah, whatever else we decide to talk about in this world of wrestling. So, joining me on the podcast, per usual, he is a purveyor of world-class wrestling opinions, the notorious wrestling fan, Kris. What's up, Kris?
What's up, Mike? Good to be here.
You know, eventually I'm going to have a sound effect for you, Kris. When you come on, it's going to be like a... But haven't figured out what gimmick I want to give you yet.
It has to be a perfect one, you're right.
Yeah, it's got to be perfect, exactly. But yes, we got a lot to get to. So, Kris, before we talk about Shane McMahon and Tony Khan and the possibility of a Shane O'Mac run in AEW, what'd you think of this photo?
It's a great photo. It's amazing because it has that classic Tony Khan shocked face that he always has. And Shane McMahon looks so pissed.
Yes, he does.
He is like, who let somebody in? He's like, and like I see his face and I'm like, I think he's going to back out of the deal now. He's like, what amateur kind of place is this?
The photo itself is interesting to me because, yes, they do both look unhappy to be photographed. But that could be by design.
Yeah.
It's possible. Because how do you get a photo like this? It's clear, for one, it's going to be clear to these two who took the photo. So they must not be somebody important, because nobody of importance would take that photo and thus leak it. So they must be somebody who just was able to get in and get a photo. I want to know the backstory of this photo is long and short of it. Because the going from opening a door on Shane McMahon and Tony Khan to, I mean, what's the photo taker thinking here? I see them through the glass door. I'm going to open the door and take the photo. Or I open the door to say, hey, Tony Khan, and then while I'm here, I'm going to take the photo. I mean,
I think you've talked me into one person in that photo knew it was coming and one didn't. And the one who did know it was coming is not related to Vince McMahon. You know what I'm saying, okay?
The one who did know that photo was going to be taken might be the son of Shahid Khan.
That's correct. He owns he's involved with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
No, I mean, it definitely looks like they were surprised. And yes, Shane McMahon had that classic, like, annoyed Shane McMahon face, which I thought was hilarious. So we'll see. But regardless of the design of the photo getting out, they met, right? It wasn't photoshopped. So we now have communication between Tony Khan, Shane McMahon in person here. So there's something's happening. We got a photo of it, right?
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, I joked with you that he was going to show up on the ROH screen and take over ROH, but I think I'm not saying it's going to be some angle, but like, I feel like that's what it's going to be involved with more. Because like, do we really care about Shane McMahon wrestling? Like, besides the shock factor of Shane McMahon showing up in AEW, is it really that big of a deal? Does anyone care? You know what I mean? I don't know.
I've been seeing that. Online that people either say, you know, they don't want Shane McMahon in AEW, they don't need Shane McMahon in AEW. And to be honest, me personally, I think it would just be the greatest thing. Because you've got Shane McMahon, who, for him to go to AEW means that he would have such an axe to grind against WWE. It's almost like you're recruiting the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? You're recruiting someone in the war against WWE. You're not just looking for a television personality in the wrestling business that you can utilize, because there's plenty of those. But you want not just someone named McMahon, Shane McMahon, right? And for Shane McMahon to entertain the idea, like, what's he gonna do? Go there and you know, try to be complimentary of WWE? Like, he's got all these years of experience in WWE, and if he does have, like I said, any level of an axe to grind, I think it would be a very interesting arrow in Tony Khan's quiver, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good... Speaking of experience, though, I just thought of this. Is there any, like, situation where he's going there to just, like, help with booking, so Tony Khan could have a little help? It's not all on Tony Khan? Well,
because you said, you know, you don't care about Shane McMahon on TV, and like I said, a lot of people have been saying that online. Like, what's he going to offer on screen? I think there's kind of a twofold thing that Shane can offer. For one, the shock value of on screen, the debut, right? Then also just he can be a person on screen. I think that if just the end of that last run in WWE was really weird. Just obviously he got injured at WrestleMania with Snoop Dogg, had to do the people's elbow. There was that Royal Rumble thing where he like got blamed for the Royal Rumble and fired. I think I tweeted out, I said the Royal Rumble went so well that Vince McMahon fired his own son.
Yeah.
You know? People are firing their own son. That's how good the Royal Rumble was. But no, there was that Royal Rumble match that he, was attributed to why it sucked. And then there was the issue with he came out and Randy Orton's music or his music hit or something, and So there was definitely some weirdness there, but and there was like the WrestleMania match with AJ Styles, and then you had the WrestleMania match back with The Undertaker. So there was a lot of Shane stuff that was not good in recent years. So I understand where people are coming from, but I do think that as long as he's not there to literally suck up the oxygen, if he's there to, you know, enhance the talent, you know, in whatever way that is on screen, there's room for him in my mind. Then off screen is where I think you really get why Shane McMahon might be there, because of all the years of experience that he's got, right? So maybe it's not directly booking the show, maybe it's some other business aspect, because for one, he's got a lot of experience in the business world and also in WWE, so he can say, hey, you know, maybe not exactly tell them what WWE does, but I mean, he could if he wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of people who have wrestling business experience that will go to, like, AEW. You know, there's plenty of people with business experience, or maybe plenty of people who have wrestled, like, been actual wrestlers. But, I mean, to have, like, both specifically involved in the business side of wrestling is rare. So, yeah, I hope that's what it is, because he probably could help.
I was going to say that, you know, he could use someone who's willing to do basically backwards drops off of high objects, but they've already got Darby Allin who does that on a weekly basis. So
yeah, actually,
Darby,
you said it first. Darby versus Shane, right here.
Let's book it. Darby Allin, give me Darby Allin versus Shane McMahon, and they both just do coffin drops separately onto nothing.
Yeah,
they both climb at the exact same time, and they both just fall backwards onto their backs.
Whoever lands first wins. Yeah,
no one there to catch them. Like, no, let me fall on you. No, I'm falling on you. Yeah, no. I think the Shane McMahon wrestling days are probably those Steve Blackman. Although, do you think there's a possibility we could get Steve Blackman in AEW and do the rematch from SummerSlam? Blackman versus Shane?
Tony Khan does pull out the checkbook, so he could do it.
I think Shane McMahon's best match was probably that King of the Ring Kurt Angle match.
Absolutely.
It has to be. I mean, it was one of Kurt Angle's best matches. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Just
That's what I
going through
remember him
that
for.
glass.
Like Shane McMahon was like the European champion for a while. Like he wrestled Triple H and stuff, and I don't remember any of that stuff. But Kurt Angle, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that Shane can show up on screen. I actually think if they wanted to, they could utilize him as an on-screen, authority figure of some type. You don't have to have some convoluted story of. I mean, you could do a callback to signing. The names on the contract says McMahon or something like that. You could do something, but then he's somehow like the GM of Dynamite, or he's like Christopher Daniels is not really.
Yeah.
An enthusiastic. Acting EVP. They've never really established, and WWE, aside from Adam Pearce and recently Nick Aldis, they kind of got away from the authority figure after the authority was so not well liked. So
maybe Shane. Maybe in the storyline, Shane is getting brought in by Tony Khan to like combat the Young Bucks and Okada. Like I need some help against these evil EVPs. Who better than Shane McMahon?
Well, I think the match I really want to see is Shane McMahon versus Tony Khan after that photo.
Well, just a blood fest. I want Bill Alfonso versus Beulah McGillicuddy blood. Okay.
Yeah, you thought that Shad Khan got upset when Tony Khan took the Meltzer driver.
Oh no! Yeah.
Let's wait till Shane McMahon throws him through a pane of glass. No.
Wait till this happens and we're like, oh my god, this actually happened.
I think there's stuff you can do with Shane in AEW. I think that I'm very interested to see if he goes to AEW. I think that people are being short-sighted if they don't see a benefit to Shane McMahon in AEW.
Yeah, sure. I mean, also we haven't had some of the last stuff that Shane McMahon has done recently has been bad, but I don't know. Maybe with a different kind of booker and different eyes, and it's not Vince McMahon doing this stuff. Maybe maybe it'll be great.
Yeah. Well, we can book him against Darby Allin, but please, I don't want to see Shane McMahon against any of the the work rate guys. Like, please, I do not want to see Shane McMahon in there against Will Ospreay.
Yeah, don't do that to me, please.
Maybe Shane versus MJF, just because there's a lot you could get out of that.
That could work.
Shane McMahon versus MJF, but Shane McMahon versus Christian.
Bring back Sting. One more match.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be interesting. It could have just been a photo. It's possible that they meet and they just don't. Maybe they're not they don't mesh well, and then he doesn't go to AEW, and then that's that. It's like you try and you realize not really in this business, so to speak,
That's why that leak is so I would be so angry, especially if I was Shane McMahon. It's like, damn, I haven't even signed a contract. Like, maybe they're just having coffee. Maybe Tony Khan's like, hey Shane, can I ask you one question about this one thing? And now there's a picture out there,
Yeah, like lure Shane McMahon just to get a nice photo op.
Yeah, and I think Tony Khan knew. There's no way. I cannot believe he didn't know.
I'm not ready to say that I think, because they look so surprised. It actually looked like they were both like they got caught. Like, oh shit, we're caught.
Tony Khan did look like he got caught, but I mean, yeah, that's true. But maybe he was like, "Don't tell me when you're coming in. Just come in at some point." So he was still shocked.
Oh yeah, so it's like a surprise birthday party. It's like,
yeah.
Well, we'll see if Here Comes the Money plays in AEW show. We'll see if Mikey Ruckus has to make a Shane McMahon theme song on 2 hours notice.
I think he probably will. Yeah.
All right, what else we got to talk about here? Let's talk about Bryan Danielson, shall we? Folks, buckle up, okay? Because it is almost upon us. We are now in August, and it is the month of Bryan Danielson winning the AEW World Championship. It is going to happen. What's going to happen afterwards? I don't know. I don't care. Bryan Danielson is going to be the AEW World Champion. Mark it down. It's obvious at this point. And it's or they could. The alternative is that they just are laying this on thick to really Like Sting got that great send off. Maybe Bryan gets like destroyed, and that's what he wants for his send off. Like he wants to be like a corpse.
It could be,
and lose and just get destroyed by Swerve.
I think this is really fun for me because you have been saying that Danielson's going to win the title for a while, and I just think they're not going to take the belt off Swerve this quickly. And it's not that quickly, but I mean, I think he's doing such a great job. Let's just build him up more. So I really don't know what's going to happen because I could definitely see him winning the belt and then retiring the next Dynamite, and then there's a tournament or something. But I just don't know.
Well, he announced this week on Dynamite he's already challenging Swerve for the AEW World Championship at All In London at Wembley Stadium because he won the Owen Hart Cup, beating Hangman Page in the finals, earning that title shot. And to add a stipulation, like I said, he announced this week on Dynamite that if he doesn't win the World Championship, he'll never wrestle again. So.
See, now I've been watching wrestling for too long. I get super nervous when he says if he doesn't win the World Championship. So what if he wins by DQ, doesn't win the title, and then that's how they keep him around? I always have to think about that stuff.
Well, I think he said if he doesn't become champion, so
Yep.
Count out, career's over. Disqualification, career's over.
What a great that's a great little wrinkle.
I think that it's going to be a great moment. Another one in the historic career of Bryan Danielson, the greatest wrestler of all time. And much deserving, for sure. I'm excited for it. I mean, I'm even excited if they, like I said, destroy him and Swerve gets a huge win. Obviously, the moment is there. If they want to give it to Bryan, they're setting it up. And I think that afterwards, if Bryan wins this championship, I think Swerve doesn't lose anything because we've seen all of these great matches with Bryan Danielson. The person on the other end doesn't lose anything because normally they beat him. But especially even Daniel Garcia.
And Swerve is also very good at talking, so he can get it back right away. So he can get his heat back right away. You're right.
Yes, and I think that like I said, Swerve losing the championship, it's possible, he doesn't lose anything if that were to happen, and they could also just put it right back on him. So
yeah, exactly.
Bryan could vacate it right away and say, I'm not a full-time wrestler, I can't defend the championship, something like that, or he could hold on to it and defend it a few times, a couple successful defenses. Wrestling once every 2 months, 3 months is not, unheard of if he wanted to. And then loses it. It doesn't even have to be his last match, losing the championship. It could be his last sort of big match, and then he only comes back for Nigel afterwards,
Because that's booked, you're right.
So I think he could lose it back to Swerve, is what I'm saying, afterwards.
That's true. I mean, I also see a scenario where he vacates the title right away, and then Swerve wins a tournament to win the title again, and that kind of builds Swerve up huge, too. Because not only did he beat 3 or 4 guys to win the title back. So, yeah, there's a lot of great opportunities. It's going to be a great match. The crowd's going to be on fire. It's going to be good.
Yeah, so get excited, folks. You heard it here first. And I'm not talking about on this episode. I'm talking about weeks and months back. This has been in the plan all along.
I think, man, I would have to look in the archives, but have you been saying this since April?
So we did an extra bonus segment that I didn't really like the way it came out, so I didn't publish it. But we talked about 10 people who could be the next AEW champion, and then the caveat I said was I think that most of these 10 will eventually become AEW champion. So we never put that segment out, so you don't know who these 10 people are. It was when Samoa Joe was the champion.
Yep.
But, so now we're going to keep those 10 people close to the chest. One of them is obviously Bryan Danielson. And at the time, one was Swerve.
Yes.
So
we'll be 2 for 2.
And then the next one we've already got written down too. No, I honestly have no idea what they're going to do. And I said, I don't care. Anything after Bryan winning the championship, it's just gravy at that point.
Absolutely.
So what else is going down at AEW All In? Well, it looks like MJF and Will Ospreay are going to rematch their 59-minute, 59-second classic because MJF won the International Championship, as we know, from Will Ospreay in that match a couple weeks ago on Dynamite. that got 5.75926247 stars.
Yep. New rating.
You know, and he transformed the title. I don't know if this is a permanent transformation or just while MJF is champion, but it is now the is it the American Championship? It's not the United States Championship.
American, yeah. I think it's the here. I have the card right here. Let's see what it says. Yes, it's the American Championship.
Yeah. So I don't really like that that they did this, you know, because for one, you've got this belt that, you know, Orange Cassidy established essentially, and just changing it, even if it's just a gimmick for MJF. I mean, you could have just gave him his own belt like you did with the AEW World Championship. But now it's the American Championship, and everything is all USA, and I get it. MJF is a heel, and he wants heat, and that's the way to do it. It's actually, nowadays, being pro-USA is how you get heat.
Yes.
Back when I was a kid, you know, watching Hulk Hogan and Sergeant Slaughter at WrestleMania 7, being pro-USA was for the baby faces.
1997, Bret Hart will be the biggest babyface in the world right now.
America!
That's all you need to say.
I hate America. No, he never said I hate America. He just said, love it or leave it. I left it.
That's actually not bad, Bret Hart, right there. That's pretty good.
And yeah, and the belt on top of it, this American Championship, this belt is not good.
No, it's gross.
I mean, it's just ugly.
Yeah. Disgusting.
The red, white, and blue, the strap, the shape. I mean, the MJF side plates where it says and it says like the only country that matters, which I think is a stupid thing to put on a championship. You know?
Hey.
Like I get it's supposed to be
brother. Yeah.
MJF, you know.
I mean, he's probably going to lose, right?
Well, there's going to be a lot of people in Wembley there to see Will Ospreay, so Ospreay beat Jericho last year, right? So
yeah,
I'm surprised Will Ospreay's not winning the AEW title at All In. But
me too.
So yeah, I think, are they going to give us two big championship wins where AEW needs to learn the art of destroying your favorite, taking the moment away from you. You know what I mean? And that's maybe that's what they're going to do with Bryan, but. Instead of teeing up these big moments, they need to tee it up and then never give us one of these moments, you know? And that could be what they do with Ospreay here if he loses.
That's why Shane McMahon's there, to teach him how to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, MJF winning would be ultimate heel heat, though. And he's the only guy who could probably handle it.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the benefit of robbing the fans, right? Is you get some heat on the bad guy that builds up like Money in the Bank, you know, and then the good guy eventually wins. Eventually. Or maybe not. Maybe just WWE and you're just complete heel territory for 40 plus years. But
yeah, your Edge, who just never lets Matt Hardy never gets back on Edge, and Edge just becomes the ultimate heel man, and Matt Hardy doesn't.
Yeah, Edge just wins the feud. But yeah. Back to Ospreay and MJF. I'll guess that Will Ospreay is going to win. I mean, how do you top, though, if they're going to do this? How do you top a 1 hour, essentially match of the year candidate? How do you top that? I don't get it.
Yeah.
And it's
75 minutes, brother.
Oh, there we go. Now you're talking 2 hours. He didn't say we couldn't do half of this pay-per-view with one match.
That could happen. That's a lot. No, that can't happen. That's too much.
Just the whole show is just this one match, just 4 hours. Wasn't there like a 100-round boxing match in like the 1920s and both guys' faces were looking like mush?
Didn't oh my God, who was it? Didn't Dory Funk Sr. and like Mike DiBiase have like a 3.5 hour match?
The UFC, Hoist Gracie and Dan Severn fought for like 45 minutes once, I think.
Oh, that's actually pretty awesome.
They were both pretty exhausted there at times. But I don't think that's what we'll see from MJF and Ospreay. But Yeah, they should just have their own ring, and it could just be that match going on the entire night.
Yeah, just go in with clips sometimes. Here's a couple minutes over at MJF and Ospreay.
They're still going at it, and then you just see them. They're just like flipping all over the place.
Yeah.
Like Hurricane Ranas. Frankensteiners left and right happening.
Gotta have that. Poison Ranas.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited for that match. But like I said, I don't know how they're going to top that hour long. And then what are they going to do? After an hour, they gave MJF the oxygen mask. What are they going to do? Are they going to just put him right in an ambulance right there from the ring?
Yeah, he just...
Maybe they'll do, like, defibrillators, like bring him back to life.
That's actually... That's not too far from what it'll probably be. Well, it's not going to go 60 minutes. Don't worry.
Like in the match, they'll pause the match, to trick us. Someone's injured. Then they'll like MJF, and they'll be like, "No, he's gone." And then like someone will come in, like a good guy, a wrestler, one of the baby faces will come in with defibrillators, and they're like, "He's got the defibrillators. He's got the defibrillators." And poof, poof, bring him back. Then the match continues.
As long as Jim Ross is on the call, just call out those defibrillators.
That's all they can do at this point is do that.
By God.
Is he back alive? and the only way they would be able to test if this person has come back to life is by doing the arm thing when they drop the arm.
Yeah, that's universal for exactly.
And then the third time, just folks,
he's alive.
He's still with us.
He's breathing. He's breathing.
Yeah. But, I mean, who knows what they could do. We got Kyle Fletcher getting in the mix. I saw Dave Meltzer said that he was a late replacement for the original person. So I don't know who the original person was going to be to come to the aid of Ospreay on Dynamite this week. But Kyle Fletcher cut a pretty good promo on MJF. Hating MJF being an America hater. Somehow.
Yeah. Kyle Fletcher's a good talent, so I'm glad I'm glad it's him. I'm glad that usually, isn't it always when, like, the second person has to step up, the person who wasn't exactly the one they wanted, and that's how they become like a superstar. I love those stories.
Kyle Fletcher is great, but the second can get Aussie Open back as a team. Let's go. They're one of the best teams in the world for sure. But yeah, he's underrated for sure actually, I don't even think he's underrated. I think everybody knows how good he is.
Yeah. He's just getting enough shine, so hopefully this will help him get some shine.
He's wrestling MJF now next week on Dynamite, so...
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, yeah, we already talked about one guy who likes to jump backwards off of high scaffolding. Let's talk about another one. Did you see Darby Allin and Hangman this week on Dynamite?
Pretty wild.
This was a good match. For one, Hangman Page, that's another future AEW World Champion right there.
I was just going to say the same thing. Hangman has been absolutely phenomenal since his comeback.
Yeah. I mean, just... that mustache alone, that mustache is on the list of future AEW World Champions. But no, Hangman Page doing a great job. Yeah. And now that he lost to Darby Allin, I don't know what he's going to do.
He's going insane, so it'll be great.
Yeah, he is going insane. He came out during the Blood and Guts and he tied up Swerve in that match. So he's still got Swerve on his mind. He's not done with Swerve yet. Which, I mean, how can you ever be over, there's no blow-off when someone breaks into your house when your baby's in a crib, right? Swerve did that.
You've always said that. That's something you've always said.
Yeah, you can't, anytime you see that person, it's going to be a problem.
That's pretty logical, actually. It actually makes sense for the first time in, like, wrestling history that someone actually isn't okay. They're just, like, over it.
Like, Swerve and Hangman, lifelong rivals, make sense to me.
Yeah.
And they're doing a good job already, I think. But yeah, so Hangman and Darby, main event on Dynamite. Darby Allin does the coffin drop off of the top of the entrance tunnel. This was crazy. The way he just hit Hangman, it was just like, oh my God. It just looked like it hurt. Like, those awkward angles where you just see, like, people just bump into each other. Like, how do you catch Darby Allin doing a coffin drop when you're on your feet and he's like 15 feet up in the air or whatever, 10 feet?
You can't. You just have to brace for impact.
It's just like ridiculous. But But yeah, so Darby got the win over Hangman. Darby Allin, he won the Blood and Guts match, Darby Allin did. And I tweeted this out from our at W Wrestling Pod X account. I said, Darby Allin wins matches just by telling people he's going to light them on fire. Now, that's where we're at. Because in the Blood and Guts match, Darby, he got a match booked by EVP Matt Jackson by dousing Jack Perry in lighter fluid, or gasoline, I should say, and then almost lighting him on fire with a backyard barbecue lighter. But then he wanted a match with Jack Perry at All In, so Matt Jackson said, "You got the match," and then Darby's basically like, "Yeah, but what about the match we're already in? I'll light him on fire for that too." Just everything I want, otherwise I'm lighting him on fire.
Hey, you know what? That's actually a pretty good way to get what you want.
I want a pay raise, or I light Jack Perry on fire.
That's where they draw the line.
It's like, you just get a phone call. I've got Jack Perry covered in gasoline right now. And if you don't buy me some Chick-fil-A, I'm going to light this mother effer up.
For Chick-fil-A.
Just anything he wants, you know? It's like 3 times a day, he's just calling the EVPs. I've got Jack Perry doused. It's like, how do you keep finding Jack Perry?
Poor Jack Perry, yeah. Somebody save him.
Yeah, but speaking of Jack Perry, in that match, you know, we got to talk about this chair shot, folks. This unprotected chair shot to the head from Mark Briscoe to Jack Perry, who was handcuffed to the cage. What did you think about this, wrestling fan Kris, this shot to the head?
I hate headshots. Like, in my mind, I think... in my mind, they look... This is so bad, but, like, they look great because it actually is like, man, this is what you would do. You hit somebody in the head if you hate them. But it's so bad for any wrestler to take. I don't care if you are fine with it, how young you are. It's bad.
Yeah, for sure. And there's other bumps that give people head trauma as well, right? And they just kind of like no sell it or you know, they get injured from it. And it's not just chair shots aren't the only thing that cause head trauma and CTE, but I mean, you're hitting somebody right on the front of their prefrontal cortex. This is the part of your brain that controls decision making. And you're giving them these like subconcussive blows at best, which still cause the gray matter in your brain that contributes to CTE, right? It's not just when you get your bell rung and you're dizzy and you're sick and you're concussed.
Yeah.
Where you're building up it's like I said, the plaque in your brain from trauma. So they're not good. And I know that they said they gimmicked the chair, and there was all this talk online with like Jimmy Corderas and QT Marshall and everybody saying they gimmicked the chair. When we see a chair shot to the head, it obviously makes people think, well, that shouldn't happen. So then the people who are doing it and, you know, condoning it have to say, well, here's why it was okay, because we gimmicked the chair. And I'm just going to guess that, like, how much can you possibly shave off of that chair?
Oh, yeah, I know.
You know? I'm sure they're saying it's less, you know, concussive, but I think it's just all semantics to me.
Exactly. It's less concussive, just like you said, even the hits, it's still going to mess with your gray matter in your brain. Like, sorry. Yeah.
And so all the talk about people who have concern about it, I mean, I'm never going to be in the camp of wanting to see just chair shots to the head because, like I say all the time, when you do that, you open the door for more people to do it, and then it becomes a sought-after spot, you know?
Yep.
And then it would inevitably become overused again. So I think it's just, it doesn't add anything for me. I'd literally rather see people get lit on fire.
Yeah, exactly, because you can probably gimmick that better than gimmicking a chair, quote unquote, you know?
Obviously, the wrestlers would rather get hit in the head than get lit on fire, for sure.
That's right.
You know, and I don't even need to see people get lit on fire. If there was uproar, if these wrestlers were like, I really hate fire, it's like, all right. Or thumbtacks. Another thing I don't like is the Max Caster thing where they shove those thumbtacks in his mouth. Oh, God, it just makes me cringe. I'm not even going to advocate against that. I just don't like it. I just don't personally like Danhausen with the teeth. Any of those small objects in people's mouth, I just takes me out of it and makes me worry that they're all just going to start choking. It's like a little.
Yeah, I don't like that either. That's terrible. Like
So
tongues and like gums and stuff. No.
Yeah, so that's the finger wag of the week, folks. It's go ahead and light your friends on fire, but don't hit them on the head. You know?
Good advice.
Just kidding. But yeah, I just had to talk about that. I don't think chair shots are I don't think they provide enough to be justified, I guess.
Agreed.
All right, folks. Any other AEW business? Oh, let's talk about Mercedes. Did you see Mercedes and Bane at Comic-Con? Mercedes was dressed like Poison Ivy, and she had Bane with her.
Nice. I did not see that. Love it, though.
It was her new heater, Camille, who I don't know how long Camille's been officially signed to AEW, but I am glad she's on TV. She looked great this week on Dynamite. I thought they could have given her an actual person on the AEW roster to destroy.
Yeah, but I think I like how they pair like the like, you know, Mariah May gets paired with Toni Storm when she comes in, and now Camille's getting paired with Mercedes Moné. I don't know if that's good or not, but I kind of like it. I think it works.
Yeah, so
like
far
Mariah May is super over. It's gonna happen. So hopefully it works with Camille too.
Yeah, and Camille's nickname, when I saw this on my TV, the Brick House. Oh God, worst nickname. Gotta say it. Terrible. So bad. The Brick House. Like, not two separate words. The Brick House. The Brick House. It's just like, oh my God. She's so good, and that nickname is so bad.
Yeah.
Not good. The Brick House. Just toss that one right in the bin, guys. Thanks. Yes, and I think so far Mercedes, you know, she's a good heel. I think Camille's gonna add some heat, hopefully, and yeah, we'll see what this team brings. Yeah, at Comic-Con, they crashed the AEW panel. Mercedes was dressed like Poison Ivy. Camille dressed like Bane. So it was cool.
That's great.
And then, yes, how could we forget about Mariah May, folks? This feud with Toni Storm and Mariah May is number one for me. Mariah May coming out and winning the Owen Hart Cup and then just smashing Toni Storm with her heel was brutal to watch, for one.
Yeah.
Because that was like, those were hard shots. And then Toni Storm coming out this week, I felt like she was trying to bust herself open the hard way with that shoe. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yep.
Just live, right on TV. How can Goldberg do it so easily by just bopping his head off of a flat door? But then Toni Storm's over here mashing her brain in with a jagged object, and she can't draw blood. Yeah, Toni Storm's more likely to give herself a giant contusion than a cut, the way she was hitting herself with that shoe.
I know.
Toni Storm is amazing. She just looked so destroyed and brutalized when Mariah May was just holding her there with her blood going everywhere. And then she's coming out now. She comes out in like the disguise, but she's still wearing like the pale white makeup in the disguise. Great.
Awesome. So great.
I am definitely looking forward to that match for sure.
And then I'm looking forward to Mariah May winning, and then just how Toni Storm's gonna like unravel afterwards, like for the coming weeks. I assume that's gonna happen. That's gonna be awesome.
Well, Mariah May deserves to win, I think.
Yeah.
She deserves to be the champion. And then maybe Mariah May beats Toni Storm, has her great moment at Wembley, and then Jamie Hayter comes out.
Oh, now we're talking. Yes, here we go.
You know. So yeah, that's about all I got. We don't need to talk about the Beast Mortos running around the ring with Orange Cassidy's jacket like a bull in a matador.
Yeah, God, yeah, we don't need to talk about that. That's fine.
All right, so let's go to some WWE stuff now. I mean, we're really close to SummerSlam here. So by the time most people listen to this, SummerSlam is going to be a thing of the past. So I don't want to create a bunch of dead air here with SummerSlam predictions. I mean, let's face it, Kris. This is our big prediction for SummerSlam, folks. Roman Reigns returns and helps Cody Rhodes fend off this new bloodline.
Yes.
That's our big prediction. And at this point, we're not even predicting what we think is going to happen based off of things we know and see. We're just thinking about things we want to see. Right? That's all this is at this point. It's just, what's the dream scenario? Let's go with that.
But I do think it makes sense, though, right? It's not like we're doing it. It's not crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, it would be a big... It's a lot.
True.
It's high expectations, for sure, if that were to not happen.
That's true.
You know, and it's not like WWE has hinted in any way that Roman is coming back, other than just him not being there and people thinking eventually it's going to be time for him to come back. There haven't been any, like Uncle Howdy Easter eggs here for Roman Reigns coming back.
Yeah.
Like none. So, no mentioning, nobody saying anything about the head of the table, like Roman whispers, nothing. So it's all just in our heads.
Yeah, Paul Heyman's not back. You'd think Paul Heyman would come back first, to start it up, but I don't know. Who knows?
I know who knows. Jesse. Did you see this? Jesse Ventura returning to the World Wrestling Federation?
As he should. Why?
Wow.
Why is he returning?
He went back. Even after Hogan ratted him out for trying to start a union, he still went back. I like how he first words we hear from Jesse after the Vince McMahon scandal is like, he's like, I'm talking to them now. I'm thinking about going back because they're going in a new direction, and I think you know what I mean when I say they're going in a new direction. It's like, yeah, the guy everybody hates is gone now. So,
Thanks, Jess.
I mean, is Jesse Ventura the last, legendary guy that we could see go back to WWE? He's got to be the biggest holdout.
I would say, yeah.
And there's almost no one more legendary than Jesse Ventura. The man, to this day, it's still hard for me to fathom that the man was a pro wrestler and a governor of a state.
Yeah, I know.
Like, we all know it, so we just accept it. But it's an insane thing the second you really start to think about it. You know
what is actually more insane, too, is when people only know him as a government official. That drives me. I'm like, what? That's how you know the Jesse Ventura? That's not even his real name.
Also a card-carrying member of the Mongols motorcycle gang.
Well, of course.
That's not hard to fathom.
No.
And of course, a Navy SEAL.
Absolutely. Heard he loves enchiladas.
Loves enchiladas.
Navy SEAL, actor. I forgot about that, too. He's also an actor. Man.
Legend. Like I said.
Now he's back.
He can't eat chocolate. But
in his old...
But he has returned to WWE, and Triple H is giving him the respect he deserves. There's a little video of Jesse Ventura showing up at Raw in Minnesota, former governor of that great state. It's just, he was the governor. And, again, this is where it starts with Jesse Ventura. In the steroid-riddled bodybuilding world of the 80s, he was the one that they called the Body. Okay?
Yep.
Enough said. The guys were gigantic, and they called him Jesse the Body. Because of his physique.
Just take that as you may.
And that's the beginning of the story. So he also had a video where he's chatting with CM Punk.
Of course he was.
Ringside. He's like, CM Punk's like, yeah, I met you 10 years ago. He's like, oh, yeah. So I don't think we'll see Jesse on screen. I don't think we need to. Unless it's like a backstage, like sit down, maybe, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But outspoken, legendary. I'm glad. I hope that he gets like some type of recognition here. Is he already in the Hall of Fame?
I was just gonna look that up. I would assume he is, but if he's not, that's definitely what's happening.
Like we need
Let's
a Jesse.
Look. I can look.
Ultimate Jesse for sure. Make like the Jesse from Predator. Make that a figure.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, they do that with movies. They have a Scorpion King figure. We need Jesse. We need Jesse merch. Jesse, do they still make... Why did they stop making like documentaries about the wrestlers? I haven't seen one of those come out in a while.
I know. 2004 Hall of Fame class.
Just put him in again.
What a class he was in, too. Oh, my goodness.
2004?
Yeah. Bobby Heenan, Don Morocco, Greg Valentine, Harley Race, Junkyard Dog, Sergeant Slaughter,
wow.
Billy Graham, Tito Santana.
What?
Whoa. That was before they went to big arenas, because I remember watching that Hall of Fame. It was like just in like a room, like in a convention hall, and Bobby Heenan gives a phenomenal, hilarious speech.
Yeah,
so good.
It was like a dinner.
Yeah, it's like dinner, and they're like on a table in front. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like
it was much smaller. And then it got big, which was great, and then now it's back to being just like in the ring after SmackDown. But yeah, Jesse Ventura back in WWE. Had to talk about it. Hope we get more. I cannot wait for this Chris Van Vliet clip of Karrion Kross doing the impression for Jesse. I need to see this. I need to see Jesse talking to Jesse.
I know. I think, you know what? Maybe that'll help Karrion Kross. I think Karrion Kross is trying to be this weird, like, spooky guy when maybe he should just be a fun guy. Maybe that should be his gimmick. A fun, doing impressions, big guy who can kick your butt. I don't know.
Maybe he could just be Jesse. We could find out that he's actually Jesse Ventura's son. That'd
be amazing. Is his real name Tyrell?
No, his name is what would his name be? Karrion Killer. His name, yeah. He could just be Jesse too. Jesse Ventura.
Yeah, it's just Jesse Ventura. That's it. Not Junior, not the second. Just Jesse Ventura. No one knows. Ventura. His manager is Jesse Ventura. His name's Jesse Ventura. It works.
Oh yeah, maybe we could get Jesse as a manager. But again, I think we're past those days.
Yeah, I love Jesse, but he looks like the Crypt Keeper now. Sorry, bro.
Well, that's what he said to CM Punk. He said, "When you're my age, you're just another old man."
Of course, him and Punk are talking, right? Like, for some reason, it just makes so much sense.
Punk's, respectful of the legends, right? You got to give him that for sure.
But I mean, Jesse Ventura stirred up a lot of shit. CM Punk stirs up a lot of shit. Of course, they got to talk to each other.
I mean, but Jesse Ventura is, 100% legit with everything he says, almost.
True.
He tried to start a wrestlers union. Come on, that's awesome. That
is awesome.
That's called having balls.
And him hating Hulk Hogan for grabbing him out is like one of the greatest things that has ever come out of wrestling.
Exactly. Yes. And I think that when he sued Vince McMahon, that's when it came out in the lawsuit or something like that.
Oh yeah, yep. And he won that too. I think Jesse's been all good for him. He's always fought Vince on his BS, so that's great. And he got that huge contract to go to WCW. Jesse's always been on top of his stuff.
Yeah, he's a smart guy for sure. That's why they elected him governor.
Jesse the Mind Ventura. Jesse the
Mongol. Card carrying member of the Mongols motorcycle gang.
I hope on the back of his biker jacket it says body. His name.
Not even the body.
Yeah, just
body.
We gotta get photos of that now. Come on, if you're listening, Jess. Come on.
Well, I don't want to make a graphic design and offend the Mongols, so.
Oh yeah, definitely
the body. Could do something else that's not the Mongols, like a patch with the body or body.
Yeah. It's just like at the Great Lakes.
I can't even say it with a straight face. Body. But yes.
Look, he's not even really back, and it's great to have him around. Thanks.
Yeah. Like, I could go for some backstage, Jesse Ventura content, right? Like, just ask him his thoughts on things these days.
Like, it could be like when Jim Cornette was doing those like promos where he's just yelling about stuff, like in '96, I think. Make Jesse do that now.
I don't even mean for like the actual television show. I mean like just like shoulder content, like online, for like WWE.com. Do they still have that there, .com?
Yeah, I think they do.
All right.
That their old .com.
Shane McMahon still running WWF.com?
Maybe that's why he's having the meeting. Oh, yeah. It's so crazy how long it's been. I just don't go on websites anymore like that.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Like you just go on social media. You wouldn't go to like WWE.com, AEW. Like, I don't know. I've gone to AEW.com just to look at, because they have their roster kind of nicely set up there.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's hard sometimes to remember who's on the AEW roster at times. So it's good to be able to go and look it up.
Yeah, there's a lot.
So we talked about Jesse. We think Roman Reigns is coming back for sure. Do you want to just, before we get out of here, do you want to talk about this TNA invasion of NXT, and especially with one Joe Hendry? Is he going to?
Yes, I think we should.
Is he?
I know.
I mean, there is so much going on in NXT involving TNA. First, we see Jordynne Grace challenging Roxanne Perez. Then we see essentially a reunion of the Rascals.
Yep.
And we are also getting Joe Hendry, who now, to me, he just seems like an NXT guy.
It's pretty crazy, yeah.
Like, have they gone to TNA yet? Has there ever been any NXT presence on TNA as of yet?
There has been a few, but I don't think it's been anything like as big. Like, like these are big TNA stars. I don't think a big NXT star has been there yet. Like, I think Fallon Henley went there on a show to take on Jordynne Grace in an open challenge, and maybe one or two others, but no like Trick Williams hasn't been there. Nothing like that.
Actually, Dolph Ziggler, former NXT champion Dolph Ziggler, is there. But not as a member of the NXT roster, though.
That's true. Yes.
So they also had former Dana Brooke show up, called her Dana Brooke for a second on one episode, and then they referred to her as her TNA name, Ash by Elegance. So I'm looking at all of this TNA presence on NXT, and I'm still waiting to see what TNA is going to get out of this. Because it's really great that you're going to get people like Joe Hendry and Jordynne Grace a lot more attention. But I think I know what comes next here.
I think I know where you're headed. Tell me, though.
They're just going to get signed. They're just going to go to NXT.
That's bad, yeah. I know.
Like, this is Super Brawl all over again.
Do you think there's any possible way that no, because I feel like they don't control. I'm gonna say, is TNA just gonna get absorbed by the big boy WWE?
Well, that's my ultimate prediction. Is I don't see any other if the relationship continues, because all you're doing is becoming very familiar with their top talent, and inevitably, I mean, we see this in AEW, and then the contract comes up, and then WWE has more money than TNA. I mean, they would have to make some type of agreement to not poach their talent. And who would do that? Who would make that agreement? I promise we're going to make Joe Hendry over like Rover, and then we promise not to sign him? Come on.
I know. It's pretty crazy.
There can be a give and take. There can be mutual benefit to this. But all roads lead to the top talent. It's a one-way street. Like,
because I was just thinking to myself too, like maybe they could do, like in the NBA they have two-way contracts where like if you play on the pro team you make a little more money. If you go back to the developmental league you make less money. But then I'm like, then your point is the same. Like, why would Joe Hendry like re-up with TNA when he can just make more money going to NXT? So I don't know.
It's just
how they're gonna do it.
Always ends up the same, and we see this with AEW. they will feature somebody else, and then they will want to sign that person because inevitably you see someone's high level of talent and you have a lot of money and you can pay them more than they're getting paid right now. Why wouldn't you want their services, and why wouldn't they want your money?
Yeah, because like it's not what's happened. Like seeing Joe Hendry on NXT doesn't make me go, man, I want to go watch TNA so I can see more Joe Hendry. It goes, well, I can't wait till Joe Hendry signs with NXT. That's when it's happening. It's not making me go to TNA and watch. Sorry, Dolph.
And they could, like I said, it could be a give and take. They could send somebody over to NXT and, like, you know, I mean, the AEW and Impact relationship was obviously mostly beneficial to AEW, but Kenny Omega did go and lose to Christian at one point. You know, he lost the Impact title. He won it, but then he lost it to Christian.
True.
Cut to Christian is in AEW.
Exactly. Oh,
I mean, he was already. It wasn't like he was in TNA. I just mean like he was like a, you know, TNA guy at one point. But yeah, I don't see. For one, TNA is not getting any of NXT's top talent. NXT is going to get some of TNA's top talent.
Yeah,
and it may not be everybody. They might go easy on them. They might say, "We won't sign Jordan Grace. Fine. We have a stacked roster on the women's side in NXT, especially with like Julia and Stephanie Vacker coming in." But it's like, but Joe Hendry, he's ours. We're taking him. So then it becomes like, okay, well, do we want to continue? Like after the first name, whoever that name is, goes and signs with NXT. What does that do to this, you know, relationship, right?
I mean, Zachary Wentz is coming back to NXT when his contract is up. There's no question about that in my head.
Well, so that's what I mean, is that might be the one where they're like, you can keep him. You know? Goodwill. We'll do some goodwill here, and we won't poach Zachary Wentz.
That's
like,
not bad, yeah, actually.
but like I said, but Joe Hendry, he's ours. No, I don't know that that's how any of this is going to go. I just don't. I don't know how. But I also think that. I mean, I don't necessarily think that WWE is just looking to drain TNA. I don't think that's the purpose of this relationship. I think it's going to inevitably happen when they can sign some of these guys. But I think they're trying to look for something bigger, and it's just a matter of how big they want that to be. Do they want there to be this relationship that is almost like a permanent relationship, or do they want to just slowly maybe acquire, you know, TNA or wait for the right time? I don't know, but it's definitely making NXT a better show. Yeah.
I mean, to your point too, it's like, there could be like people are underutilized at NXT, like some of the veterans, because, you know, they do focus a little more on the developmental wrestlers now, which is fine. They're all doing pretty good. But like I'm thinking like Gallus, like Joe Coffey is a great wrestler. Like maybe they're going to slide them over to TNA and have them get more work, but they haven't done that yet. So that's why I'm like, maybe they're not going to do that.
Well, they're also cutting people that they don't want to utilize anymore, and then they'll just end up in TNA anyway.
Yeah.
So they don't have to worry about that. They can just say, we're just going to fire you, and then, or, you know, we're going to let your contract run out, and then we'll see you in TNA.
Yeah, you can still come over here. We don't have to pay you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's an element of that. So it's an interesting dynamic for sure. On screen, it's great. I would love to see just some big giant show, like both, you know, bunch of like NXT versus, because I mean, it's like, what can the fans get out of this? Yes, Joe Hendry and Jordan Grace and others being on NXT, it's a good show, but let's do something bigger here, you know. Well, we can, but
that'd be a good show. It's probably going to lead to that, but I don't know though, because really, like you said, there's really no TNA. They haven't really gotten anybody big yet, so I don't know. But I like it. Selfishly, I watch NXT, so I like it.
Yeah, for sure. Now, there's actually one more thing I want to talk about before we get out of here, and that is the new focus being put on the show Bloodsport. Have you seen this, Kris? Everyone's talking about Bloodsport now.
I have seen more like social media stuff about Bloodsport, yeah.
Well, the most recent Bloodsport, now that WWE and Nick Khan are in the mix, I mean, we've seen Shayna Baszler in Bloodsport. Now we've seen the Creed brothers, Julius and Brudius, the Creeds. Those are their names.
Yeah, exactly. You nailed it.
I don't know which Creed brother is my favorite, actually. Obviously, Julius? Is that his name?
Julius, yep.
Julius was my favorite. Now, Brutus, after seeing him in Bloodsport, I don't know which one of these Creed brothers I like more. I like them both now. But the Creed brothers have shown up in Bloodsport. I mean, we had Bloodsport where there was TNA, AEW, and WWE people on the same show. Shayna Baszler, obviously. I think I said her already.
Yep.
So now Bloodsport is becoming this sort of the real Forbidden Door. How did that happen? Leave it to Josh Barnnett truly encapsulating the spirit, the fighting spirit of Inoki-san, bringing the wrestling world together. Is that not what's happening here in Bloodsport?
It is. I mean, yeah.
You know? Hopefully this will lead to a Josh Barnett WrestleMania match against Triple H.
Yeah, sure. I mean, hey, Ric Flair wrestled with a bad heart, and so Triple H is going to do it too, you know, for his hero. Tribute to the hero.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it could be a tribute to Ric Flair from Triple H, and it could be a tribute to Inoki from Josh Barnett when he
I love it.
chops Triple H right in the chest.
That's right.
No. Yeah, I think that it's interesting with Bloodsport that, I mean, this show's been going on for a while, and I think some of the past shows are better even than the more recent ones. You know, back when we were still figuring out like what this really is. And before it was copied by Raw, Shane McMahon, and NXT. With Raw Underground and NXT Underground. I think that Bloodsport was it was an original idea. I liked it from the start. Just no ropes, fake shoot fights, you know. It's a different style. It's its own style. And it can be, you know, high impact still. You can still do insuguris, right? It can still be very interesting to watch. It's not all just this mat-based stuff. But, yeah, no, Shayna Baszler is looking like the queen of Bloodsport these days.
As she should.
Yes, a student of Josh Barnett.
Hell yeah.
And Josh Barnett, like I said, championing the spirit of Inoki-san. Working with all of the promoters to give us Bloodsport. And I think that we're only going to see more people. Like, Bloodsport is like the opposite of what we were just talking about with the Super Brawl and TNA and NXT. Bloodsport, it's like everybody's coming here and nobody's looking for a job.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, everybody's just looking to fight, you know? And we're going to see MVP, allegedly, versus Josh Barnett. He came out and he challenged Josh Barnett to a fight in Bloodsport.
Incredible.
So, and he said, one thing I found interesting about that clip from MVP was he's in the ring and he says, my contract is coming up, meaning like it's not done yet. I don't know if he was just saying that, but it means he was still under contract with WWE while he showed up in Bloodsport.
Pretty wild.
To promote some post WWE appearances. But we didn't actually publish the episode, folks, because we recorded an episode and we didn't like it and it wasn't good, so we deleted it. But on that lost episode, we did talk about the Hurt Business possibly going to AEW, and I'm more interested in just seeing the Hurt Business go to Bloodsport now.
Yeah.
You know?
That'd be great. Oh, yeah, Lashley there, too? Oh, yeah.
Lashley, MMA background. Shelton Benjamin, wrestling background.
Yeah. Oh, man.
MVP hangs out with them.
Yeah.
No, I think he just got his BJJ black belt, or he had it already. But MVP's looking to get back in the ring, the no rope ring, I guess. But yeah, I think it's interesting that Bloodsport is getting all of these people to just work together. Like, you have Jon Moxley. He wasn't at the recent one, but can you imagine if we could actually get in Bloodsport AEW versus WWE? You know,
That'd be incredible. Yeah.
It'd be like Taz versus Mike Awesome all over again.
Oh, jeez. Hopefully longer and better.
Yeah. So, folks, that about does it for this episode of Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. Thank you for sticking with us to the end of the podcast. We appreciate you here, as always. Be sure to follow us on social media, at WWrestlingPod on X, at Watch Wrestling Podcast on Instagram. Folks, you do not want to miss these reels, and we know you did not miss that reel, or that video on X of Dijak coming back to the Indies a few weeks ago. Everybody saw that one. At W Wrestling Pod. Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. Facebook, we see you, Facebook cousins. Continue to follow us. Continue to hit that like button. Hit the notification button. Subscribe wherever you find your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube. And one more thing before we get out of here. I just want to say trans rights are human rights. And
absolutely.
And that's all we got, folks. So we will see you next week. We will be back. We will be recapping WWE SummerSlam, and hopefully we will be recapping the return of Roman Reigns. So until next time, my friends, what does this button do?
Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman.
There is no honor among thieves in the first place.
Let's be having you.